prior to my sort of involvement in this case, because it does go back to July 2010, and I was given a press file which gave me some background on what's been happening and why people, I think, within Twickenham are generally angry about the council's decision to grant consent for this tall development. And so I just wanted to sort of focus on some of these issues regarding the need for action and the fight for localism to enable you as a community to have a say in how you shape the environment you're living in. So I looked at the executive summary of the Barefoot Conference, which basically stated that there was unanimous agreement that Twickenham should stay low-rise. There was concern over the plans to build a 10-storey housing block. It was generally felt that any new development must be a maximum of 3 or 4 stories, and that's what was reported post-conference. Within that document, it goes on to sort of look more closely at the no to high-rise scenario. It said that most people who spoke at the meeting were very much against the idea of the high-rise development, and it said that the general consensus was that any new development should be around 4 to 5 stories. Notice that there's an immediate gap between the executive summary of 3 to 4, and in the detail it's 4 to 5. And that residents were weary of repeating perceived problems over the travel lodge development, and that one person mentioned at that conference that they hoped that the newly elected council would stick to its promise of keeping any new development low rise. Moving on from that, in October I picked up a further quote from the Richmond and Twickenham Times, Friday the 8th of October, about Twickenham's future, have your say, and Councillor Nick True, the leader of the Richmond Council, said, I quote, "This conference is an opportunity for Council to begin working with people on the big issues that face the area. The conference will provide the opportunity to consider the results of the Barefoot consultation in detail and begin to have some really useful discussion as to how we move forward in key areas." Yeah. A month later, in November, a further report in the Richmond and Twickenham Times about shaping the town's future. Again, Councillor Nick True, leader of Richmond Council, said, "I want Twickenham to be somewhere people stop and say, this is a beautiful and special space. There will be difficulties," he said, "along the way, but we must set out to achieve the very best, and if we work together, we can succeed." He went on, as reported in the Richmond Kingston Informer on the same day from the same conference, to say that the future of Twickenham will be determined by local people in a bottom-up fashion, not by the council simply telling people what will be done. Also at a conference in November, Councillor Pamela Fleming, the Cabinet Member for Communities, was quoted as saying that this event has given her great optimism for what we can all achieve by really working together and listening to each other. This led to the setting up of TAG, the Twickenham Advisory Panel, in July 2011, and I think they were tasked with looking as a sort of a group of informed individuals at development within Twickenham Town Centre and commenting on schemes which were coming through, and also being involved in the shaping of the blueprint for the Twickenham Area Action Plan. And Graham Henderson was quoted in the Richmond and Twickenham Times in July as saying that in our role as honest brokers for the town, TAG plans to follow up with Solum and Network Rail about the issues raised at the meeting and to continue our work of assisting the community in understanding, questioning or challenging the proposed scheme. He also was quoted as saying that my colleagues and I are on the panel are happy to discuss the station redevelopment further with local residents and pass on their comments and concerns to Solum, Network Rail, or the council. The panel is here to help and empower the community in relation to this and other matters affecting the future of the town. TAP went on to prepare a report for the station project. That report, I understand, was actually submitted to the leader of the council on the 7th of December. At the planning meeting on the 19th, the planning officer reported to members that the report had not been submitted against the planning application or formally to planning officers, and as such the comments therein are not considered material in consideration of the application. This was pretty fundamental. I understand that the report was actually quite condemning. It had been prepared by the advisory panel who had been set up to look specifically at development, within the town centre. And I just asked the question, and maybe other people should ask the question, as to why TAP's report was suppressed, by the leader of the council. Was it simply that it just didn't tell or didn't, confirm, what it needed to say in order to support the scheme? So, in the absence of a paid referral to the second application, the GLA, in assessing the application submitted to them on the 15th of February, requested a copy of the TAP report. The council advised the GLA that TAP had no formal role in the decision-making process. Because it was set up by the leader of the council in an advisory capacity. Again, should the leader of the council be allowed to suppress the findings of the appointed honest broker for the town? So, what are the
into any details, I wanted to confirm what you were saying. Although you go with a mixed panel, we'll have mixed views. The report that came out after hearing the views of the local population and also having the people with experience and expertise actually study the Solum plan and were horrified by what we saw. There really didn't seem to be inadequate plans in terms of provision for the Rugby World Cup, which is shameful given that as a resident my understanding is that the rugby at the RFU is supporting their plans. And there were various other engineering issues. There is a report, there is a home which will be published. We now have a website which will go live in the next week or so. And the intention is to publish for various political reasons. I can't guarantee that will happen. But there are good panels and there are some good people. And the majority have come out very much supporting your line of thinking. I have a question.